views and opinions on this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the executive producer or the sponsors. They are those of the hosts and guests only. We believe freedom of conscience means the right to speak free, to think and believe as you will without the imposition of official coercive power over those beliefs. Liberty cannot exist when people are forced to conform their thoughts and expression to an official viewpoint. Differences of opinion are the natural byproducts of a vibrant, free society. Thank you. Live from Studio Diablo in Chicago, Illinois, this is MK Ultrasound.
Get with the countdown.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man. Blast off for Kicksville. Shake this square world. Blast off for Kicksville.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man. Get with the countdown.
I speak jive.
Forget it, man. Blast off for Kicksville.
Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ. Oh. Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ, yeah. Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ, oh. Jesus Christ looks like me. Jesus Christ, yeah. Jesus Christ looks like me. In the beginning, there was man and typewriter. Hey, happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Alexander here, and with Max Bravo.
Hey there.
Jason Harmon, are you there?
I am here.
Jason's
Hello.
in central. Would you consider where you're at, central Indiana?
Oh, yeah, it's totally central Indiana.
Okay. Well,
Except everybody else calls it too.
we're doing this show Memorial Day weekend. So far, only 20 people have been shot since Friday. We had a 500-person fucking riot last night on the southwest suburbs, and before that happened, like 300 people were doing something fucked up at Wrigley, but that didn't make the news. And the 500-person thing where 5 cops got run over by a car, that was only reported on our local Fox News affiliate. So, yeah, it's Sunday, so we are taking a walk down memory lane, and the reason for this is a couple of years ago, Max and I put together an idea to do a coffee table book commemorating MK Ultra magazine. And that's in response to all the years people were asking me, just put out one more issue. They don't understand that that world of publishing and distribution no longer exists. When MK Ultra went out on top in 2005, record labels were closing, distributors were closing, record stores were closing, bookstores were closing. So basically, my biggest distributor was 500 stores of Tower Records, and they filed bankruptcy and went under, and they ultimately paid me everything they owed me, which we'll get to in another episode. But we're going to talk about the first year, 1995, that I kicked this thing off in Pittsburgh and why. And so what I'm doing for the people who want that one issue, I've decided to put together a coffee table book, like a big coffee table book that it's like the ultimate scrapbook, lots of photos that I could not publish in MK Ultra back in the day because some rock stars would expose themselves, some their penises, some their butts. I mean, there was like some crazy shit that we got to see because we were kind of a crazy fringe publication. And so we're going to put this book together. Max has scanned a lot of stuff, and he mentioned last week, well, let's just get started on the writing. And as I've learned with doing this podcast, people are unreliable. I've paid people to do work. They've bailed. It's really hard to get somebody to follow up on, say, following up to, hey, I'll do it, and to get them to actually do it. So instead of just doing an interview with me about the beginning, I decided to have you two on today to talk to me about the very beginning. Next week, I'm going to have Vanessa Bellamy on, who was there as my assistant through my whole 3 years of Indianapolis, assistant editor. She'll be with us next week, along with Justin Devlin, who is the person responsible for introducing me to Typo Negative, and he helped do layout on the first issue on my coffee table in Mount Washington in Pittsburgh. So getting to it, the reason I played that first song, or that clip of Typo Negative doing the end of Christian Woman, is because our first cover, I wanted to make it look like a National Enquirer. And I had this idea, okay, well, let's put a picture of Jesus and Peter Steele in the headline, Jesus Christ looks like me, claims Typo Negative singer, which I thought was brilliant. I had no idea what was going to happen with this thing. I had no idea what I was doing. I started it because I was pissed off because I couldn't get that story published. I was a freelance writer then. And I borrowed $250 from my roommate, Big Mike, who's no longer with us, and 28 pages at a printer who, after the second issue, said they would no longer print us. That happened in Indianapolis. I had 3 different printers say, we're not going to print you anymore because of the content. And that's nothing. Nothing. So, Max, you want to start out?
Yeah. When did you, we're talking about your first issue, but when did you first take 2 sheets of paper, fold them, staple it, and go, oh shit, I can make a publication? That was pre-MK Ultra, right?
You know about this?
You had to be a young man to get that idea to take it where you did when you finally did.
It was 1976, incidentally, the bicentennial. Mm-hmm. America was 200 years old. We're 250 this year, if that says anything about how old I am. I was 12 years old in the 6th grade, and I put together this thing called Monster Monthly. It was me, David Histrich, and Melvin Lucas. We were 3 nerds. They were a grade younger than me, and I'm in 6th grade, and I would draw the covers, and we would write monster stories.
Okay.
And then my big influence was Stan Lee from Marvel Comics. So I had Alex's Soapbox, just to stand in his editorial. So I was Alex's Soapbox, and we made up these stories. And Jason, a funny thing is, one character was a detective named his last name was Acula. Like your
really?
like your
That's
website,
funny.
like your email
My
is
email address.
your email is Dr. Acula. No, this guy's name. This guy's name was Alucard. It was Dracula backwards.
Yeah,
Alucard. It was a guy I created, Alucard. And
Well, you know where I got that name from? The movie Ed Wood. That's one of the movies that he pitches to try and get a movie deal.
Okay, good. See, now we kind of know where we all are, because Max is a Marvel Comics guy too.
What was your distribution? How did you work it back then as a kid?
Our secretary in a grade school, she typed everything up, laid it out, and stapled it, and we gave it out to every kid in the fucking grade school. It was just black and white. I mean, interesting. My parents never cared. They never saved anything that I did. Any of the trophies, awards, anything I won. I never had support of my mother and my stepmother and father. They just thought I was just a dreamer. And, my stepmonster still says to this day, you're a dreamer just like your father. Well, look what you could do with dreams, So I had this thing called Monster Monthly, and it ran for about, the school year. The teachers were all behind it. They thought it was really cool. I think people started to see where I was going, but then I discovered Kiss. And you talk about going from comic books to rock and roll very easily. That was the easiest transition. Like, oh my God, okay, Kiss, they're comic book guys. So,
Right, totally.
And then, then I by the time I got into junior high school, I was a full-blown rock and roll. I was just a fucking crazy rocker. And, if you listen to the show a couple months back, I was with Kevin Finsley, my best friend from 7th grade till senior year. And we saw Kiss together in 79. So you go from 1976 3 years later, I'm seeing Kiss and Cheap Trick, and I've never turned back.
So I take it at that point you became a voracious reader of the rock magazines to learn more. Because as a writer yourself, you go to read stuff as well. Like your library is extensive here.
Yeah, well, there was no internet, of course,
Right.
but I would go to the local library, the Barnesville Public Library, and read like the periodicals. That's where I discovered Jim Morrison on the cover of Rolling Stone. Said he's hot, he's sexy, and he's dead. And that was back when they were gonna the Doors' greatest hits came out. And that's when the whole Jim Morrison, is he still alive rumor thing got started. Oh, the book No One Here Gets Out Alive came out also. But yeah, I'd go to the library and I discovered the music section. And ironically, my cousin who was just here, his father had a bunch of music industry books. Well, they were donated to this library. And one time I looked a book like How to Get Started in the Music Business, and it said donated by the family of John Robert Wayne. So all of my cousin's father's books were donated to our local library, which was interesting because I never knew until I went in there and like, wow, okay. But I would always read like these rock yearbooks, the Year in Rock 1979, the Year in Rock 1980, and then we got them all. And then I discovered magazines and books and bookstores, and I can't tell you how many hours I would spend like at the grocery store just in the magazine section while my mom was shopping.
Oh man, the grocery store magazine sections used to be so fucking great.
Oh, comics! I flipped through the comics myself.
Of magazines,
just hang there, right? Just all those.
Yeah,
man.
totally.
Hit Parader, all of them, and then later.
Well, not even that, man. But you had like all the like sci-fi magazines and horror magazines.
Yeah, eerie, creepy. I would thumb through those.
Well, the thing is, my grandfather McCourt, my grandfather, the son of the guy who had the horse. My great grandfather's son, Thomas McCourt. He got me into like science fiction and Bigfoot and UFOs and all that. So he had all these conspiracy books and conspiracy magazines. There was a magazine called Saga that was all about UFOs and Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. And of course I discovered like the Fangoria back in the day. Remember when Fangoria was black and white? And it was like,
no, that was before my time.
There was like Godzilla and shit like that.
Right.
So yeah, I was big into that. And then, luckily, on our black and white TV, we put tinfoil on it on Saturday nights so we could see Chiller Theater. That's before Saturday Night Live came out. I'm really dating myself here.
Speaking of UFO magazines, I have one from back then that has a section about this couple who claimed that they were going to go with a group of people on a UFO when a comet came by. Yeah, the Heaven's Gate people. It's an article about them, and it has the flyer they handed out to everybody printed in the magazine.
How cool is that?
So it talks about T and Doe, and it talks about how they, they're communicating with these aliens, and and it's before they call themselves Heaven's Gate.
And so in junior high, they made me, we had a school paper in junior high, so I was, of course, the music editor guy. And, oh God, this is embarrassing. I remember I made this list and I spelled Aerosmith wrong. I spelled it ARROWS. And they, then nobody checked my work, so they fucking printed it. And then, funnier, and then in high school, of course, then I was the music editor of the Jet Gazette because we were the Union Local Jets. So the Jet Gazette was the paper. So I was the music editor in that. And, that's when I first got my first taste of DJing and as a party DJ before I went to radio school, which had happened when I turned 16. But
so in the course of reading all these magazines, you started. What gap did you see that was missing?
Well,
what untold story out there?
I got into fighting the PMRC, the First Amendment stuff. JSIN and I did a series of shows about this. But in the 80s, so I became like a writer and an activist, and I formed my own organization called The Right to Rock. And this leads into something different to the beginning of MK Ultra, actually. So I had The Right to Rock when I was in my freshman year of college, and I worked with Jello Biafra, who was in San Francisco, and he had the No More Censorship Defense Fund, and so we worked together. Ended up becoming friends with him later in life, and so I never thought about being a rock journalist. I wanted to be a rock star, and I couldn't find people to do that, give up their whatever to do it. Like give up their girlfriends first of all. Like, oh, my girlfriend doesn't want me doing this because there's girls around. What the fuck? That's the point. That's the whole point. So basically, I focused on the writing side, and I became a poet and songwriter, and had a few bands here and there off and on, but nothing ever, produced anything except for some great song lyrics, which I still use. Mm-hmm. And I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I worked I was a fundraiser at the Ohio Republican Party, and I met Dwayne Hoy, who I had on when Ace Frehley died. And he was a writer for Stage Magazine. He also was a radio DJ at Z-Rock. They asked me to write a story. They wanted me to go cover the Romantics live, and I love the Romantics, so I went. So I started freelancing with Stage Magazine, and then I landed interviews with Ace Frehley, then Gene Simmons and Melissa Etheridge, the Black Crowes, and that's where I really started to interview and meet bands. And I still had short hair then, and I got to tell you that those prejudices exist on both sides. Mm-hmm. That's how somebody will judge you for having long hair, how somebody that's a rock star will judge you if you come in looking like you're a clean cut, okay, I'm going to get some dirt on you guys. So when I grew my hair and started dressing a little more different, becoming who I really was inside anyway, they opened up doors. That's when you saw the drugs, you saw the pussy, you got to see the groupies, you got the backstage on the bus experience. But in the beginning, nobody really, they didn't trust you. And I can't blame them. I mean, because people are always looking for dirt. And I had access to a lot of dirt. And some of that will now be in this book. And the reason I never wrote about it in MK was I wanted them to, like Al Jorgensen, the things I knew about Al Jorgensen, I let him say in his book. Because why would I want to out somebody like that? And there's a lot of people who are open about the mistakes they've made in life, or the pleasures they've done. Look what Motley Crue did with the dirt. Right. They opened up and they told how it was.
Ace's book. Ace, has no problem admitting his
at all. He had no problem at all admitting his fuck ups, and that's what made him a lovable fuck up. So I started working with Stage Magazine, and I just I moved to Pittsburgh after I went to the first Lollapalooza. I met this guy named Aaron Arthurs, and he was a big Ministry fan, and he had a zine called Forum 69, and I saved his information. Then when I moved to Pittsburgh, back to Pittsburgh, I contacted him, and I started writing for him, and he folded, and then Denard Summers, who was his assistant, had a magazine, a zine, and I write for them. I just wanted to I wanted to keep getting product and go to shows and interview bands, but the thing is, you just don't go and interview the bands and do nothing with it. And that's a problem I have. Mm-hmm. I've sent people like this guy, Chris Harris, who this guy has found every way to fuck me over that you can imagine. So from the beginning of starting my radio show, fucking me on money, then he's like, okay, he wanted to interview Moby. I sent him set up to go to House of Blues Hotel, sit down and talk, interview Moby for me. And he comes back and he's like, I'm like, what was the interview? He's like, oh, the tape recorder wasn't working. What the fuck? Jeez. You got a free concert. Basically, all you were doing was meeting this guy to get him to fucking listen to your music, which is why he fucked me on my radio show, because he wanted me to play his band on my show, which he was supposed to have 50% of the funds for, but his deal fell through. Mm-hmm. So I end up ponying up all the money for the fucking show. I mean, I made it up for it in advertising, but the deal was, it was his idea. He just wanted me to fucking foot the bill. So I said, no, you know what? I'm never playing your band. And one time, the last time I worked with him on a professional basis on the radio was, I was $5 short of paying the fee that I needed to pay for the hour of radio. Mm-hmm. He didn't have it. I'm like, you seriously don't have $5? We're done. And we'd go to venues like House of Blues, and my fucking bar tab would be so high. I'm like, what the fuck? Or that guy. I said, Chris, what are you doing? He said, oh, I thought I was on the MK Ultra tab. I'm like, there is no MK Ultra tab. And he'd rack up fucking booze. I'm like, well, you got to give me money for this? Oh, I don't have it. Well, what the fuck?
Yeah, so there's no MK Ultra tab.
So basically, when I was doing these interviews, I had to turn them into somebody, and the record labels aren't just going to give you shit for free unless they see that you've done your work. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they're like, where's this Typo Negative? I interviewed Typo Negative because my friend Justin Devlin in Pittsburgh, still one of my very best friends. He got me he goes, Alex, you're gonna love this band, and he gave me Bloody Kisses. I'm like, holy fucking shit! I never heard anything like that up to that point. So I went to see them live, unfucking believable, and they were still pretty heavy back then, like really heavy, going from their first album Slow Deep and Hard into Bloody Kisses era. So they still played the angry music from from the first album, Slow Deep and Hard. And they had their big song on that was called Unsuccessfully Coping with the Natural Beauty of Infidelity, which in short was I Know You're Fucking Someone Else. So this band really spoke to me. And I was working for Rock Out Censorship then. This is other publication in Pittsburgh. These guys I met at a concert. And I started writing for them on the censorship thing. And there was a House bill they were trying to pass, like to sticker records in Pennsylvania. And these guys formed a grassroots organization to fight against that. And they are also UFO buffs. So these guys would go investigate the Mothman down in West Virginia and shit like that. So I became friends with them. And that really, this thing went on for years working with that organization, the Rock Out Censorship, because then we got to do a lot of Ozfest shows through them. But anyway, so there was this, so Rock Out Censorship, they had some money issues because, they were dependent on donations. So they couldn't get their issue out. And then I went to this local Pittsburgh goth zine called Third Nail. And they were so goth that Typo Negative was a mockery of goth. And one day I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going to start my own magazine. And somebody said, you should start your magazine. I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. I have no idea about layout. There were no computers. I didn't have a word. I had a typewriter.
And what year was this?
This is 1994 when this happened. So if you look here on the first issue, this is typewriter.
He's showing me the actual magazine.
There was some typewriter stuff. And basically some of this I would just cut and paste out of press releases. So this first several issues were all cut and paste, but I had a guy that lived upstairs from me, he had a computer, like my grandpa had a horse. My great-grandpa had a horse. He had a computer, so he could do some rough layout for us. And then I had a friend named Sam I Am who designed these punk rock t-shirts. So he did the back, he did the cover. In exchange for him laying out the cover, I let him do a full-page ad on the back, and it's basically got the coyote and a roadrunner, and he ripped off the roadrunner's head, and he's licking the blood out of the roadrunner's neck.
Yes, he is.
This is he had a shop on the south side of Pittsburgh. And then I had interviewed Pigface in November of 94, got in with them. And then my friend Peter, who I'm still friends with, his band Mace. So the first issue came out with this cover, and I bummed $250 from Big Mike. We laid this out on my kitchen table with glue, and Aaron Arthurs, who had the Ministry fanzine, he told me about blue lines. So I went to this printer, they gave me the paper, and it had blue lines on it, and blue doesn't show up in printing. But what I didn't know is this one guy, Jimmy, it's amazing how many people for this first issue are dead. This guy named Jimmy typed out the Pigface interview, and some of it was in blue. See, this is typewriter stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Some of it was in blue, and so it didn't show up like this. This was blue, and some of this didn't show up. I didn't know that blue didn't show up in print. And as you see this back page, it was like Sharpie marker.
Mm-hmm.
So as the first issue, I paid Big Mike back, for my paycheck. I was telemarketing back then. So the first issue we had Typo Negative. We had Pigface, Martin Atkins, which is still a part of my life. We had Mace, Peter's band, still a part of my life. We did a story on Rick Rubin. We had an interview with the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and Biohazard, and the rest of this is just all cut and paste. And then Jeff Brown did this cartoon called Demon Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jeff I had met through the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, where these other guys I became friends with. Jeff was a big Danzig fan and into comics and in industrial and punk music. So I'd see him once in a while downtown, and I told him I was starting a magazine. He said, well, yeah, I'll do some art for you. So he created this character, Demon Dancer. This is how fucking fast shit happened.
Yeah, seriously.
So this comes out. Immediately a tattoo shop, they get this. Somebody got a Demon Dancer tattoo on their fucking leg. Like, I'm talking this thing's out 30 days, and people are like going crazy. I'm like, we struck a nerve here. I didn't realize that this audience I was speaking to had no audience. They had no source. They had Industrial Nation, and that was it. And Industrial Nation, funny thing is, as great as they were, not Industrial Nation, Alternative Press, who are anything but alternative now. We did our Peter Steele issue. They did a Peter Steele issue. Second issue, we had White Zombie and Lord's Acid. They had fucking White Zombie after that. So basically, shit happened, and it happened really fast. And that typo fucking interview, boy, it led to, so Peter Steele would mention this band Lycia, and they were on Project Records. Well, they used that quote on the cover of their press kit for Lycia's new release. And next thing, in this shit's showing up in magazines, like in MK Ultra magazine. So people were starting to wonder, who is MK Ultra magazine? And they were about to find out. So we're going to go through some of the bands from the first year, and I'm going to shut up for a minute because I'll be going on for like 20 minutes. Jason, I met you because of MK Ultra, but we'll get to that story in a bit. But let's play Typo Negative. This is their version of Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts, only this is the band version that Seals and Crofts told them they could not release, and this is their original called Summer Girl on the MK Ultrasound podcast.
Golden hair, moving as the wind blows. Full moon on a Friday night. A little candle burning in the window lets me know everything's alright. Summer girl, make me feel fine. Always in the corner of my mind. Summer girl, make me feel fine. Always in the corner of my mind. Kenny Hickey lying on the sidewalk. Devil music from the house next door. So I step on over his vomit through the screen and across the floorboard. Some girl, make me feel fine. You're always in the corner of my mind. Summer girl,
So it's February, March, 1995. Time to follow up the first issue. I didn't think there was going to be an issue 2, but we started getting advertising. And we got to stay on point with this because Jason's got to transcribe this for the book.
Yeah, this is going to be, I was just thinking about that during something. Like, how's I going to transcribe this shit?
Yeah, a good idea would just start with an outline.
But for kicking it out straight at the gate, how many, you had 30, 26, 28 pages? How many?
28 pages.
28 pages.
The first two issues were
impressive.
28. Yeah, but when we went to print the second one, they said, well, the guys are walking around with it in their pockets, but the owner of the print shop said, we can no longer print you because it's offensive. So we have, it's the first issue, it was just me, Sid Edwards, I met at a Typo Negative concert in Columbus, Ohio in December of 94. By now the band was getting familiar with me. The first issue hadn't come out yet, but Sid was from West Virginia, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. He was this great artist, and he did the Typo Negative shirt that had the two girls in the 69 position. It was the Christian woman shirt. That was the back of the shirt. Two women in the 69 position. The shirt was called "I Love You to Death." Sid did that artwork. He also did the artwork for the cover, the Cinnamon Girl single the Typo Negative did on October Rust. And then he became my graphic artist. He's also no longer with us. So there was me, Sid Edwards, Jeff Brown, who did the Demon Dancer art, Sam I.M., who did the cover and the artwork for the back. Chris Smith did some layout. He's no longer with us. Jimmy Craig, he did some typing. He's no longer with us. Christopher Blow was my neighbor upstairs. So that was basically it. I don't know what's going on with my computer. It's going haywire right now, man. Screens are just flashing up. Fucking shit's just, what is going on, Max? It's like it's possessed. This sucks. I can't fucking. Okay, anyway, annoying. So.
Technical issue.
Fuck.
Is this your second issue in front of you? Yeah.
So we come out the gate with the second issue, and by this time, the guys from Rock Out Censorship had their section. We had a UFO section. My girlfriend at the time, Pam Doolin, was with me in Columbus, Ohio. She got a DUI that night. She ended up going to jail. I ended up going to jail. I had to hitchhike home 3 states the next day. They told me she was let free, so I hitchhiked home to Pittsburgh with just a leather biker jacket and a jeans and boots. But I had I had a thin fucking T-shirt on, like a rock shirt, Cleopatra Records shirt. So I had to thumb in middle of December from Central Ohio all the way to Pittsburgh, so across 3 states. And I get home to find out she was still in jail. So this getting off the ground was not easy. So the second issue, we've got Sid Edwards on board. Sam I.M. laid out the cover. We had Lords of Acid, White Zombie, who I had created a friendship with the year before when I interviewed them. When they were just breaking big. And so 1995 was a great year for music and me, like with White Zombie, Lords of Acid. They did their first rock album on Def American Records with Rick Rubin, with the Devil Girls on it. Tom Savini, who basically lived in my neighborhood, I'd see all the time. He was in this issue. So things are really starting to go somewhere. And there's UFO stuff. We had advertising, but it was all local advertising. But the censorship thing in this one, we were, the House bill is 881, proposed community standards bill in Pennsylvania threatens clubs, education, free speech. So as you see here on my editorial, Max, there's the picture of the Demon Dancer tattoo. There's a picture of the Typo Negative t-shirt, which I sold for over $600 on eBay last summer. And then on the Typo Negative's bus, they had the cover of MK Ultra fucking taped up on the inside the bus. And then they drew a beard on fucking Peter to make him more like Jesus.
That's cool.
So we go on the bus, and I mentioned that I'm going to Indianapolis next day to look for a place to live. And I had to drop off Pam at some rehab thing on the way in Columbus, Ohio. So I was going to drop her off. Typo Negative put me on their guest list with Pantera the next night. So this is 24 hours later. I drop Pam off in Columbus, Ohio, drive on to Indianapolis that night, go see my first concert there. And I've already got backstage passes. So at this point, that Project Records thing came out, quoting Peter Steele, on the Lycia album. So shit is really, really, really going somewhere. And so I'm like, goodbye, Pittsburgh. This second issue came out like 2 days before I moved end of March 1995. And I moved to Indianapolis on April 1st, 1995, April Fool's Day. And so I got this U-Haul, we got the car, and we drive all the way to Indy to start relaunching MK Ultra somewhere else, somewhere newer, which a lot of good things came out of it, but Indianapolis wasn't what I was told it was. So we get to Indy, and the people that I moved in with, Dawn, and her ex Steve was somebody I knew my whole life. It was just I never met anybody that lied so much as this fucker, and he was very mentally abusive to Dawn and to me as well. So then I get my own place, and it's time to start on issue number 3. And so I still got my crew from Pittsburgh. I got Denard Summers and Aaron Arthurs is still writing for us. Jeff Brown is sending things in from Virginia because he had already graduated college, the Art Institute. So he's done. So I've got John Woods, Randy Payton, and Mike Winkler, who were all with the Rock Out Censorship guys and writing my UFO stuff. Sid Edwards is art, and Sid Edwards was doing interviews and reviews. And Jeff Brown, as I said, doing art. And then I met a photographer who would go on to work in issue number 3. Her name was Dawn Patterson. But we had White Zombie on the cover of the second issue with Lords of Acid. And you talk about an album that got big as fuck. Jason, you're a big fan. How about that album?
Oh, yeah, the Astro Zombies. Astro Creep, sorry. Astro Creep 2000, right?
Yep.
And then it had a long tagline after that. But yeah, that record was huge. It blew up.
AJ was jamming to that yesterday. We were hanging out. I mean, when I had him this week.
Dude, I mean, okay, so here we go. I'm Typo Negative are getting huge.
Mm-hmm.
Peter does Playgirl. I got White Zombie, who remembered my kindness, because when I met them, I interviewed Sean on the phone, and they got to Pittsburgh. They had a day off, and they're incidentally touring with Prong. Prong, and then Rob Halford's band Fight. So it's Fight, Prong, White Zombie. White Zombie still weren't headlining yet, I don't think. But they'd called me, and she said, "Hey, we have a day off. Anything you suggest to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm DJing this little bar in Pittsburgh, a little bar. Probably maybe 100 people could fit in that thing, and became lifelong friends with the bartender Stacy, and I'm DJing there. So White Zombie comes in there. Guess who lives across the street? Tom Savini. So I introduced White Zombie to Tom Savini. Can you imagine what that's like?
That's pretty bad.
It's like introducing me to Gene Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I already had my roots with Kiss. I'd worked with Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley and shit, and stayed in touch, continued to work with them in my transition to becoming a publisher. So White Zombie comes, and it's just like fucking nuts, man. And they're hanging, and you know what? They said, just put on the Reservoir Dogs soundtrack. That's all I need to play. So I put on cassette, put on Reservoir Dogs, and just some other soundtrack music, which is what they like.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, they got to go to the warehouse, which was like a couple blocks over where Tom Savini creates all his creatures in Lawrenceville.
That's pretty badass.
So they got the same warehouse that I got to go to. So they got that experience, and I gave them a map how to get to the cemetery where they filmed the opening scene for Night of the Living Dead in Evans City, which I showed you videos of me hanging out there. Mm-hmm. So this is where things are going. So in 1995, bands like White Zombie, who still aren't huge yet, they don't forget the people who were there with them in the beginning. So this is when things started to happen and get exciting. So I moved to Indy, and right now we're going to play White Zombie on the MK Ultra Sound podcast.
This spring, DSN Music has new stuff from Subsonic featuring Ron Marks, showcasing a cover of the classic Billy Preston hit, Will It Go Round in Circles.
Will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky? Will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky?
Will It Go Round in Circles? The new single from Subsonic drops worldwide this spring via DSN Music. Available worldwide via all online and mobile music stores.
I listen to the MK Ultrasound podcast, and you should too. It's tremendous. The greatest, most highly rated podcast in the world. It's very highly rated. Other podcasts are very jealous. They are all very jealous. Alex and Max are the most intelligent hosts I have ever heard. Their listeners are the smartest people that listen to podcasts. They are all very, very smart. Other podcasts are washed up and for losers. That's why I listen to the MK Ultra Sound podcast. Their guests are all tremendous and very popular and get very high ratings.
Pray to Satan. 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 Join the children of darkness. Pray to Satan. 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 Pray to Satan.
The title track from Kiss the Goat from 1995's second album from the Electric Hellfire Club from 1995's Kiss the Goat. And that was the only CD we had to listen to going from Pittsburgh through Ohio to Central to Indiana. So we drove.
But wait, you weren't even listening to a CD, were you? Did you tell me it was a tape?
This was actually, it was either I think it was a cassette tape, advance. It was advance because there was no artwork or anything. So we got it the day we left Pittsburgh. That was the last piece of mail I received myself in Pittsburgh. Denard Summers wanted to pick up my mail for the next few months there and forward it to me in Indy. 2 weeks till the Electric Hellfire Club were here in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yep, 2 weeks from today. So this is a band that would go in to the next 3 decades of my life. And I would become friends with everybody in that band, past and present members. Amazing story. So it's issue 3. I moved to Indianapolis. We get into town April Fool's. I think it's April 2nd at this point. Maybe it's April Fool's Day. We get in front of the house on Denny Street, park the U-Haul with everything I owned in it, with the car on the back. Figure, okay, Lee, it's okay here for a few hours. We're going to go in and get some sleep. I come out in the morning. Somebody broke into the U-Haul, tried to chip away at the steering column and try to steal. That means we would have lost everything we owned, including the car. But they didn't get away with it. Welcome to Indianapolis, Alex. So...
But issue 3 is
getting so So I got a job at BMG Music, which was great. You know, remember 8 CDs for a penny?
Mm-hmm.
It was that company, and basically
it was the opposite. It was like the competitor of Columbia House.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they were both based in Indiana. So I'm there, and it was lucrative, and I ended up making some friends there that are still friends with me to this day. And one worked on this issue. So issue 3, I've got a little bit bigger of a staff. I've got the interview with Gene Simmons on the cover, and I did something that I would only do maybe 2 more times, but on the cover, I just put his face with him wearing a T-shirt with his face on it, and that's before they put the makeup back on. So this is summer of '95, the KISS convention. So I interviewed Gene Simmons.
And you also created the trademark look of your MK Ultra logo that continued on the rest of the issues. The Iron Gate logo, which was my tattooist who did my typo negative tattoo. He used that on his artwork. I asked him what it was. So that's when we started using the ironwood. Thank you, man. Mm-hmm. So in this issue, we had Gene Simmons and nothing else on the cover, just Gene Simmons screaming. And summer 1995, free, and a warning. It said, if you were easily offended, please put this magazine back. It's not for you. We had KMFDM. We had Demon Dancer. The Jeff's comic had really become big, so he's got 2 pages in this. We have Mace again. We had Convergence with my first trip to Chicago. Jeff Brown and I came here to this 3-day Gothic Music Fest. So we covered that, and which ended up leading me to move to Chicago. And so we had a band called Drain the Doves in there, an Indianapolis band, Mr. Presto. We had Todd Rundgren. We had Fear Factory. We had Merle Allen, who is Gigi Allen's brother. We had Lycia. Cheryl Crow, she really fits in with this group of people, and a profile on Russ Meyer, and some live photos of White Zombie. So the Electric Hellfire Club, amazing band, great people, smart, intelligent people, and I don't realize where I moved, and everybody's accusing me of being satanic. You're satanic. You wear all black. So I'm working at BMG Records, and I'm branded as dark side.
I drink vodka and satanic water, and so Jason, and you had to grow up with this. I can't believe how fucking big that shit was back there. And then I would discover Marilyn Manson. So I'm working with White Zombie, who uses that imagery for fun. I'm working with Electric Hellfire Club, and then Manson comes out in '95. So, whoa. I'm at BMG Records, and they send the black guy up to me. He may as well not been black because he was the whitest fucking guy that wasn't white. He was white. So very nice guy. Name was Mike. And he came up to me one day and he asked me if I worship Satan. And I'm like, no. He goes, well, you hang out with White Zombie, the Hellfire Club. Manson hadn't hit yet. So I'm like, no. He goes, well, everybody here thinks you're. So I asked him later, we became friends, Mike Duvall, why'd you ask me that question? Well, they made me ask you because they're convinced you're a Satanist. This was nuts. We had to move out of our second apartment, Jeff and I, because the firemen fucking accused us of being devil worshipers. Because they would see the bands come to the house and the bands roll out of the van and in their clothes and their leather and their fucking all that. Jason, what was it like in Central Indiana being an independent person like you who loved the same music as I do? Exact same shit, actually. What was it like dealing with that on a daily basis?
Well, I grew up in a small town. I'm about an hour northeast of downtown Indianapolis. And yeah, I mean, it was like that all through high school. You know, if you wear black, you do witchcraft and all that crap. There was a girl that was interested in me in high school, and all my friends were like, oh, you should date her. You should date her. Went to her house to meet her family. A week later, she was told she wasn't allowed. She told me that she wasn't allowed to date me because of the way I dressed, which was funny because her and her sister dated the jocks, and the jocks that were older than me all partied way more than I did. You know, they weren't doing anything that I wasn't doing anything that they weren't doing.
So
yeah,
it was crazy because it was there before I left. I did another interview on me, which is going to be in the book. And it's funny how a lot of what I predicted about my life would later come to be true. But I'm still an indie, and the guy that interviewed me, he's like so much focused on the Satan thing. I'm like, what the fuck, man? What is the obsession with fucking Satan down there? They would say satanic. And then Jeff wore the Danzig cross, the inverted cross, and people were like, Danzig, that's satanic. So it's at issue 3, we're 44 pages, so we're double. Pam and I would break up. She'd worked on this issue. Sid Edwards was still with us. Denard Summers was still with us. I still had John Woods and Randy Payton, the guys from Rock Out Censorship. Kirby Stokes interviewed Kim FDM. Don Patterson was doing photos for us. Jeff Brown doing the artwork. Crescenda Meadows, a girl I worked with at Reese Brothers, who was this goth girl, she did some artwork. We were running a lot of comics back then, Max, in the magazines. And we did cemetery photography too, which also probably confused people, but we were kind of like more goth than anything else. And then Annette Langley.
Well, you were thrown out of Crown Hill Cemetery for taking photos, right?
Yeah, that's a funny story. I'm glad you brought that up. That's perfect. So we're doing a photo shoot for the staff in Crown Hill Cemetery. When I moved there,
hang on a second, Alex. Just everybody knows. I think it still might be the largest privately owned cemetery in the country, or something like that. It's huge.
It's pretty big. John Dillinger's buried there, and Eli.
Wickham Riley, the poet. There's several. I think there's a former president or vice president buried there.
Who's the big drug manufacturer in downtown Indy?
Eli Lilly.
Yeah, Eli Lilly's buried there. So,
oh, totally, yeah.
So I would go in and take pictures of graves, and they had a contest. Well, I did ask. I called the director of the cemetery. I said, my name is Alexander. I'm new to town. I'd like to come do some photography. Is that okay with you? I was, fine. By the way, we were having a photo contest, and she's talking to me. And she said, yeah, I went to Louisville and had KFC on Colonel Sanders' grave. So talking to her, and I entered a photo contest, and I go and I see my photos displayed in there with all these other photographers. Didn't win, but it was cool to be involved with something like that. A year later, we get an escort out of Crown Hill, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to call this lady, and I want to know what's going on. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll be happy to let her know that you'll be calling her. I said, this is bullshit. It was all based on how we were dressed. So I called her. And I said, you told me about the photo contest. You still have my photos, blah, 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 blah. She goes, well, that's before I knew what you looked like. What the fuck? Oh, my God. So, yeah, this was a story, man. And we wrote about it, and we got a lot of letters. So, meanwhile, as the magazine's getting bigger, this is the first issue. I had a full-page ad from Warner Brothers. So, Warner, you okay, Max?
Yeah.
Did you have a long night?
I had a very long night.
I could tell. Did you go to the beach yesterday?
I did not go to the beach.
So... Anyway, Warner Brothers would go on to take out full-page ads for the remainder, the balance of the magazine. But then we started getting other record labels. I think Interscope Records might have been on this one too. So things are getting big. The buzz is getting big. We're getting subscriptions all over the world. I ran a 1 by 1 inch ad in the classifieds of Alternative Press, and it cost me $100 to run that one ad only, and I got subscriptions everywhere on that ad. And it was very, very light description. It was like one fucking paragraph, and the address and what it cost to subscribe. It was amazing. Things really started happening fast, but in Indianapolis, I may as well just been Satan himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working all the venues there. We got a fucking great staff, and things are really, really happening. Like, as far as the venues were concerned, I didn't get many problems from venues until I started hanging out with rock stars. But this leads into how I would go on to meet JSIN, and then I'm going to just play a couple more songs. We'll end this episode because it's getting long. But JSIN, I think it's important to, how about we just do a quick song, and it'll make sense of how we met and became friends. Sound good?
Right on.
All right, be right back. And this is Marilyn Manson on the MK Ultrasound podcast.
Virgin sold in quantity, American heredity. I'm playing my guitar and I'm feeling fine. Why are all the in the unemployment line? White trash, get down on your knees. Cake and sodomy. White trash, get down on your knees. Time for cake and sodomy. A porno queen. She likes to give head, she likes it mean. That's why she's my little queen. White trash, get down on your knees. Time for cake and sodomy. White trash, get down on your knees. It's time for cake and sodomy. Get some behind. Who says date rape isn't kind? Who's he gonna go? Who's he gonna please? It don't matter as long as she's on her knees. White trash, get down on your knees. Get down on your knees. Time for cake and sodomy.
And that's from Smells Like Children, the second Marilyn Manson release. And that's the one that put him on the map with the song, the cover of Sweet Dreams. Jason.
Yep.
So this is a good segue.
Yes, indeed. Could have been this or a Thrill Kill Call song, because that is actually, I didn't know who you were. I think I had seen you at shows, but at My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult show at the Vogue,
This is a good story. 95, yeah.
Like October 95, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I was at the bar during the show getting a drink, and our friend Marcia, a.k.a. Cinderella Pussies, came up to the bar to get a drink herself. And I said, hey, let me buy your drink for you. And she was like, oh, that's so sweet. Hugged me and kissed me and said, come back to the bus after the show. And I said, okay. So I went back there and, was talking to her stuff, and she asked me if I knew you. And I said, no, I don't, but I know who you're talking about. I had the Gene Simmons issue already.
Okay.
I think I had gotten it at you. Future Shock used to advertise in your magazine, right?
Yeah, Future Shock did, and also we put the magazine in Karma Music, so you had a lot of access to us because Karma Records was the local record store in the Indianapolis area. They were pretty big. And
there's still two left too. That one at Post in Washington Street is still there.
There used to be
there used to be 40 years.
There used to be a thing called record stores, Max.
Yeah.
Back in the days.
Back in the day.
So go ahead, Jason. This shit gets funny, man. So
I know who you were. I know I had the Gene Simmons issue at least. I think I had the one, the picture with Hellfire Club doing the ritual. I think I had that issue because I was just getting into them.
That's the Gene Simmons issue. I did the long interview with Thomas.
Same issue. Okay. Well, I know I had more than one, but I definitely had the Gene issue. And I was just starting to get into bands like that, transitioning from being a hair metal kid who didn't really like grunge and didn't like a lot of the quote unquote alternative bands. But once I heard Nine Inch Nails and Ministry and Soul White Zombie, I was like, yeah, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm into. So I knew. And I picked up your magazine because I was still, a fan of Kiss. And so Marcia asked me if I knew you, and I said, no, I don't. She's like, well, if you ever run into him, please give him my email address. So she gave me her email address and, told me to email her too. I was like, cool,
This is funny. So I need to interrupt real quick because this goes before I met you. So I've got 2 more issues coming out, still 95. Things are blowing up. I've got Skinny Puppy. I've got Marilyn Manson. I've got Filter, Thrill Kill Cult, Rob Zombie, talking about his movie career. Peter Murphy, Godfather of Goth, the band Prick, who was a band that Trent Reznor was in before Nine Inch Nails. And then I would close out the year with Ministry, huge part of my life, Babes in Toyland, Thrill Kill Cult again, Sister Machine Gun, Argyle Park, and Mojo Nixon. So you've heard the 5 issues we put out. We went from 28 pages to 44 to even more. And so it's early 96. Manson's huge. And I go to this local venue to see Marilyn Manson.
The Antichrist Superstar tour, and it was at the Pepsi Coliseum, which is at the Indianapolis Fairgrounds, where the Beatles played.
And I'm there to interview L7, and Manson's on the tour, and Rasputina was on the tour. I'm there with Tommy Victor, and Mike Shoemaker was there. That was fun. And then I'm walking through the lobby, or the whatever you call it, and this freak comes up to me.
Actually, we were backstage because I had to use the restroom when I came out of from the floor to the walkways, whatever you call it. And I asked the security guard, I was like, hey, man, where's the restroom at? He was like, oh, do you want to use the one backstage? It won't be as crowded. So, of course, I'm like, fuck yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I saw you backstage.
Okay. And he wheels over to me.
Just walking. Actually, you walked past me, and I turned and I was like, Alexander, and you stopped and you were like, yeah. And I was like, Cinderella Pussies wants me to give you her email address. And you were like, oh, okay. So we introduced each other, and you gave me your phone number, and we talked on the phone because that was in like January. We didn't actually meet face to face until that Hellfire Club show with Guar in Kentucky. So that was like 6 months later. We didn't meet for like 6 months. We just talked on the phone.
No, dude. That Hellfire Club show was in 97. So we talked on the phone for a year.
Okay, I guess it was that long. I thought it was that summer, but you're right. It was 97.
Were you already writing for me at that point?
No, I hadn't done anything for you at that point yet.
Okay. So you hadn't done any writing for me until after the Electric Hellfire Club show.
I think the first thing that I actually helped you do was transcribe that Rob Zombie interview you did for when the magazine went to the smaller format from like the.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. No. You wrote, because I remember we were editing your stuff, Heather and I, and you did a review and you said that somebody started somebody's crotch.
Yeah, that was a review. You just told me to review something, anything. So I did this satanic exploitation hardcore porno from the 70s called Devil's Due. And yeah, I meant to say started rubbing his crotch, and I started his crotch instead. And that was a running joke with us. I mean, well, obviously we're still bringing it up, but for like years, man, we would always bring up the start of his crotch.
So all the way through 95, Max, we're still cut and paste. Okay, so I already had 2 printers tell me they were no longer going to print our fucking shit.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a trend here.
It's narrowing down.
Now get to Indianapolis. You're in the Bible Belt where you're satanic, and unbelievable the response we got from some people. But I'm going to carry that into the next episode. And Jason, I'm probably going to have you back on to talk about some more stuff as we talk about the first year of MK Ultra, which will be part 2 next week with Vanessa Bellamy and who is now Vanessa Junker. I'll probably talk to Tamara Mitchell. Justin Devlin hasn't got back to me yet. But then in 95, another great band with one of the greatest debut records I've ever heard in my life, Filter. Filter's first record, dude. Jason, do you agree with me? It had Hey Man, Nice Shot.
Oh, yeah, that record. I mean, well, he had the benefit of, the guy from Nine Inch Nails, and Nine Inch Nails was huge at that point. So that definitely helped him. But yes, it is a very good record.
These guys left Manson. They left Nails in the middle of a tour. I think it was Brian Lee's gang and Rich Patrick, and they were in the desert doing fucking acid, and they just left. They were in 9 Inch Nails, and they left the band, the biggest band there was at the time. So you also got to figure in 95, I had come here to Chicago to see 9 Inch Nails with David Bowie. So things were fucking huge, man. 95 was a big year, and I was right there. I was right there on it, every fucking part of it. And already had.
I saw that Nails Bowie tour in Columbus, Ohio.
It was fucking awesome, wasn't it?
That was amazing. Prick opened for him.
Yep, that's when I met Prick. But that's the funny story is, I was backstage at that show too, and I saw David Bowie and Trent Reznor talking. I'm like, this is really, really, really cool. In fact, Taco and I were behind them in a car and didn't realize the limo in front of us was them. And then we see him get out. We get the VIP part, and we see David Bowie and Trent get out of this fucking limo. So I'm going to just end this episode with Filter. I picked this song because I like it, not because it was a radio hit. But the funny thing is, when I moved to Indy, I forget what that alternative station was.
X103.
X103. They would play this song, Hey Man, Nice Shot. And the thing that drove me crazy, they never said who the artist was. It took me a good month to find out who the artist was. And then Warner Brothers sent this to me in the mail, and they didn't want it. They didn't want to promote it as former members of Nine Inch Nails, which I thought was really cool because they did the same thing with Foo Fighters. Universal did with Foo Fighters. They didn't want to tell anybody it was Dave Grohl of Nirvana because they didn't want to ride on the coattails of this. They wanted these bands to prove themselves, which they both did in their own right. So, Jason, thanks for your time. Thanks for all your work on this. I'm going to close out with Filter now, and we'll talk to everybody next week. Please check us out online. And this is Alexander.
Max Bravo.
And we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody.
I got empty point to make. It's about a faith, an empty point of view, sinking through and through. So you think you got some problems? So you think you got it bad? got a fresh opinion now. I can't tell you how. I think it's best just to take it and go under. All it takes to swallow you can't miss. Let's you spend some time in bliss. Oh, come on
Every great day starts with a cup of get the fuck out of bed coffee from Martin Atkins and Dark Matter Coffee. Go to darkmattercoffee.com. Look for the big red logo that says get the fuck out of bed. America runs on damage, and it all starts with a cup of get the fuck out of bed coffee. There are 10 commandments and there are 7 deadly sins, but there is only one MK Ultra magazine. Visit us daily online at www.mkultramagazine.com for entertainment news, reviews, and interviews. mkultramagazine.com, home of Alexander's Diary of a Damned Man. That's mkultramagazine.com.
You wanted the best, but you got the best. The hottest band in the world. Kiss!
I was getting ready to wrap up the show, and Jason texted me, "What? No Kiss trivia?" God damn, that's right. We can't deprive the listeners of this.
No, of course not.
All right, Max, you can start.
That's hilarious.
Funny how.
Okay. What happened to Peter Criss during his first performance in Cleveland, Ohio?
He got male breast cancer.
But funny.
I think I know the answer to this one because I think Ace Frehley told it to me when I first interviewed him. The drum riser got stuck.
Peter passed out and fell off the stage.
And got breast cancer. Was he drunk?
Doesn't give details on your cards.
Okay, Jason, so you're next.
Okay, where was the Kiss album Creatures of the Night recorded?
Shit. What the fuck? Record plant?
That is correct.
Whoa! Hey! Okay, I love that album, man.
What Canadian band recorded the original version of Rock and Roll Hell before Gene and Bryan Adams rewrote and rearranged the song?
Fuck. Couldn't have been Argent. Oh, fuck, I heard that original version. I know Bryan Adams, yeah, he actually recorded it on his own, but get me out of this rock and roll. Was it a famous band?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Triumph?
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
No shit. Wow. I saw them. That's how old I am. Okay, Jason.
On January 30th, 1982, Kiss performed I on what TV show?
Fridays.
Incorrect.
No, what?
Solid Gold.
So, fuck. Shit, man, I'm really.
Yeah, you're.
But you know what the good thing about that was?
That.
Peter Criss wasn't in the video. It was Eric Carr. And
Yep.
And
By that point, yep.
And Ace just went through the motions. Like his heart wasn't there at all. Okay.
Who said in reference to Kiss, what they need is a gimmick?
I should say Kim Fowley, but what they need is a gimmick. Bill Coyne.
Alice Cooper.
I'm going with Bogart.
Alice Cooper.
Who?
Wow, Alice.
Ah.
And he must have been fucking joking.
He was. That sounds like a
Right.
very just joking, sarcastic.
I like the
phrasing.
story where he told about at the Rainbow when he ran into Lemmy, and Lemmy said he wasn't drinking anymore because wasn't too healthy at that point, and then Lemmy was drinking like and Alice says, well, what's that? And he said it's a screwdriver, it's vodka and orange juice, and he goes, Lemmy, that's alcohol. He goes, I meant whiskey. All right, Jason, I think this is your last one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Kiss performed as a trio for the first time on January 28th, 1982 at Studio 54. Who was absent?
Studio 54, what was the year?
1982.
Ace was absent?
That is correct.
Hey, well, interesting, because Eric Carr was in the band at that point. Oh, wow, man. People make jokes of the Peter Criss dick sucking thing. They should have put him in the fucking finale of The Boys. Hey, Max texted me last night. He goes, oh my God, the ending of The Boys. And then I sent him that picture you sent me.
The Sopranos had it, yeah.
Wow, man, what some finales we've had, man. The Punisher was good. The Daredevil ended good. The Boys ended good. Looks like For All Mankind's going to end pretty good.
Yep.
I don't like where Friends and Neighbors is going, but that show needs to run.
I don't know how many.
That show needs to run its course.
I like it, but it's so freaking far fetched. I mean, you got to put on the suspenders of disbelief for that show.
The shit with the fucking baseball card.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that's a wrap. We'll be back next week with part 2 of this. I'll be talking to, I don't know if I can get a band in here. I might do 2 podcasts next week. Max is traveling a bit. I'm working with the boys to do theirs. I think they're the Cox, the boys, the Cox, same thing, right? Oh, that thing that you said Elon Musk said about being, Elon Musk said the boys finale was what, fake and gay?
Yeah, fake and gay.
If he thinks it's gay, he should have seen the season before.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a lot of swinging dicks in that thing, man. I never saw so many fucking dicks in my life.
And that's the final statement. That's the final statement for his podcast.
Yeah, jackass. That's just true. All right, Jason, thanks for reminding me about the Kiss trivia. Everybody else, will check us out online at mkultramagazine.com. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. It helps more than you know, and it's free. It just takes a minute of your time. Click the fucking subscribe and click like, and we'll also try to get this on YouTube as well. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bombadita, 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 happy trails to you. Bombadita, 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 bombadita. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. Happy trails to you. Till
You've been listening to the MK Ultrasound podcast from Chicago, Illinois with your host, Alexander. Please click like and subscribe and share with your friends. Check us out online at mkultramagazine.com. And on behalf of the MK Ultrasound staff, thanks for listening, everybody.